Wimp to Warrior, we are transforming lives through martial arts, through mixed martial arts, through training. We are bringing something that is sometimes very intimidating, um, which is training. I mean, we all know, right? You know, we're all here today. We've all come this far because of our love and our passion for martial arts, and we all started off as practitioners, right? It's a powerful, amazing, transformative force that sometimes isn't the easiest to bring over to the everyday person. So what we do is we try to get the everyday person to train, try to break down some of these barriers that prevent them from training. And the way we do that is we partner with elite level academies all over the world. We help them market, we help them, promote the program, and we help drive people to these academies to take this program on. It's a 20-week program that ends with an amateur fight. Now, you don't have to fight, but I will tell you that most people that will definitely surprise you, you would never expect them to step in there, they are stepping in there. I'm talking about grandmothers.
Oh,
Shit
Yeah.
you not, fellas. There are two grandmothers that have gone through the program so far. One is in Australia, one is in Kalispell, Montana. I was at her fight. I was at her finale um, for SBG Kalispell in May. This grandmother has two amateur fights. She has more of a technical understanding and more fight experience than most people in the fight business. and then, and again, that's not throwing anyone under the bus. It's just more about her.
Yeah.
Like she can break down a fight and technique better than most people that keep this industry going. I found that interesting. There was a 50-year-old man that fought that night. Like currently at one of John Kavanaugh's gyms, there's an amazing man who is an amputee. He's got a blade. He's training every day. He's showing up. He's figuring it out. He's learning. Um, yeah, we are getting people that would normally never get on the mat and learn. Our goal, our mission is to get them on the mat, is to drive them to these amazing gyms, have these gyms get more business, more exposure, and giving these people an amazing experience. That's that could be potentially life changing. So we're in the middle of all this, bringing people to these great gyms, and that's our core. That's our mission to help grow MMA through this process.
A
that's
lot of
awesome.
what people don't understand is that you will never really know much about yourself until you've been into a fight. Now, whether it's just a wrestling match or jiu-jitsu match, but I've always felt that one-on-one competitive sports is one thing that you will learn the most about yourself internally. And I just did an interview this morning with Corey Anderson's wife, who's doing a small little podcast that she's just starting. And when I was talking to her, I said, look, in my first fight, I had bragged to everybody that I was going to beat this guy. I was going to knock him out with a head kick and this and that. And I was a wrestler with decent jiu-jitsu at the time. I'd only been training Muay Thai for like 6 months. Thought I was a Muay Thai guy all of a sudden, like Gerald Strebent when I fought
I was
him.
gonna say you're
You
Gerald
know?
Strebent.
And I thought, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out there. You won't be able to take me down. And I died. It was a 1 minute. It was a 10-minute round, but it was one round. And like with a minute left, they did the whole clack, clack, but it was a minute left, and I like, yeah. So I stood up and I let the guy up. I was ground and pounding him at the time. I basically stood up out of mount and just stood up and to show everyone that, my friends and everyone that I invited that I was going to knock him out. And I threw the head kick and slipped. He got my back and he hit me. And I tripoded up and he slid off. And when he slid off, he caught me in a inverted triangle and I tapped with less than a minute left. And it was eye opening because what you're talking about, Rich, for me, it was the one-on-one. I was willing to give up the win of the fight, to showboat to people that I had invited to come there, to embarrass this one person. And what it did was it taught me a lot about myself, is that, hey, you couldn't have been more of a bigger piece of shit at that moment in your life. And so, honestly, that's kind of what humbled me along the way in trying to become a better fighter throughout that. I was like, look, I lost that fight. It took me almost a year. I paid $25 to fight too, and it's like, that was the thing. I went in thinking that I'm going to dominate this guy and this, that, but I learned a lot about myself as an individual. and got me all the way up into the UFC. I mean, I basically hadn't lost a fight up until I got to the UFC, you know, that was the first fight I lost. And I hadn't lost a fight since until I got to the UFC. It was one of those eye-opening experiences of when you just know that you learned a lot from yourself. And was a one-on-one conversation I had to have with myself several times, that you're not a piece of shit. Don't do things like that to people, you know, and you have the desire to go out there, but you can be beaten at any time, and anybody at any time can get you. It doesn't matter if you're winning for 9 minutes or 9.5 minutes. You've got to make sure that they're fully finished and that you're not that person to try to embarrass people. Like, those things will backfire on you through karma, just through everything. And what you guys are doing, because a lot of top level gyms, City Kickboxing, right? In
New Zealand.
In New Zealand.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say Australia. In New Zealand, they're with you guys. They have a huge program there. You have SBG in Ireland, right? They have a huge program there. They're building with John Kavanaugh, and there's a lot of other SBGs that are here in the States, like you said, in Montana, that are also doing this. You guys have grown quite a bit, and you guys are doing a great job.
Oh, thanks, Josh. You know, shout out to, since you mentioned them, Eugene Berriman, the guys at City Kickboxing. They've successfully sold out several programs and series to where they have a wait list. They throw amazing finales. They're really changing people's lives over there, while simultaneously coaching some of the best fighters in the world. It's truly amazing. John Kavanaugh over in Ireland right now, across his 3 gyms, has about 150 people in the program currently.
Jeez.
Wow.
And yes, it's amazing. So we're having tremendous success internationally. It's my job to really help us grow here in North America. And as you mentioned, Josh, with that experience that humbled you, that gave you that moment to really sit down and put things in perspective, while a lot of our competitors are not trying to pursue a fight career, we all know the things that you learn on the mat and the things you learn in competition. Like you said, you'll be a different person after this program and after you fight, and those things can help you out in life. And I firmly believe that the world would be a better place if more people trained. And I really feel like we need it now more than ever. I mean, every time I hop on, it's kind of sad what I see out there, man. It's sad. People do need more respect, humility.
Yeah.
More people need to train. That's the way I see it. So we need, and of course, the whole mental health aspect, right? I think we all know the true benefits of training aren't physical. You don't just get in shape, but I feel like it helps you mentally, spiritually. So, hey, it might sound a little corny or whatever, but I really do feel like if more people trained, I'm not saying you got to go out and be a pro fighter, but if more people trained and humbled themselves through this process, the world would be a better place.
If more people trained, the internet and social media would be completely different.
Yeah. Well, it's
Maybe
true,
you
John.
would be talking shit, you know.
Oh, exactly.
Pro fighters to people that are experts in their fields, like you'd be a little more humbled and grounded. It does provide for some pretty cool entertainment and funny moments from time to time. But overall, man, I got to hop off sometimes. I'm like, man, this is like, what is going on? Like, we need more humility, just patience, all the things that you learn on the mat, right?
Well, this is what it comes down to. This is that I give you guys an example from just my perspective. I'm sure some other fighters have had the same perspective. When I was younger, I walked around with a chip on my shoulder thinking I could fight. And then I went and lost to a guy who was 0-0, like I was 0-0 at the time. I lose to a guy who wasn't as good as me, but just beat me because I made a mental mistake and just was being an idiot. Then you go and you train more and you get better. But during that time, right, I'm still fighting in nightclubs. I'm still fighting on the street. I'm still doing dumb things. But as you got better and as you start winning more fights and as you get more skills, what happens is you find it less important to prove to others that you're a badass because you already know you are. So the more knowledge you absorb, the more you get better in terms of jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, wrestling, all of those things. Humbles you a lot more because you have a lot more respect for people that are good at jiu-jitsu, guys that are good at wrestling. And you know the level that you are just walking around amongst guys that really, and females also, that know exactly what the hell they're doing. You think Joe Blow at the bar has had 5 drinks is going to beat you up? That shit ain't happening. That was one of the biggest learning things that matured me as a person, and just made me realize that I don't need to be at the clubs fighting. I don't need to be, I know how good I am. And so the more knowledge is power, saying it has a lot of truth to it.
Absolutely. Both of you guys have, Josh, you currently are in the gym business. John, I know you were as well. You've seen what it can do. It's amazing. And I'm
Oh,
sure
it's
some of the most
fantastic.
fulfilling moments for you while you had a gym, some of the people you still stay in touch with today that you'll never forget came through your gyms, transformed themselves, right? Became different, better people. And yeah, that's what we're in the business of. And for me, it's such an interesting contrast. I mean, I still consult and work with Scott and help him out with certain projects. So I'm still in the fight game at a certain level. But to transition from working with you guys and trying to put on the best shows, put on the best fights, showcase elite level MMA, to now just trying to help the average person discover this amazing, powerful force and see how it can improve their lives. It's pretty cool. I really couldn't have asked for a better opportunity to transition to over at Wimp to Warrior.
100% agree. Okay.